Welcome to Difference Talks, the show that focuses on one word, differentiation, and how it is more important today than ever to discover what makes your brand unique and celebrate it with the most important people, your team.
In each episode, we meet people who've had the courage to stand up and stand out, sometimes against great odds. In a world of copies, conformity, and commodities, uniqueness speaks volumes. Difference Talks.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Difference Talks. I'm Barry LeBove. I'm CEO of LeBove Marketing, Communication, and Training, the author of The Power of Differentiation. I'm joined here today with VP and partner Marcus McMillan. Welcome, Marcus. And our guest today is a really special guest because in our book, The Power of Differentiation, more pages and more words are dedicated to this gentleman and his company than any other. His name is Kurt Breischaft. He is the president and leader of SDI LaFarga Copperworks. He's been in the copper and wire industry for 30 years. He's the president of the Industries Association. But for the last decade, he's led SDI LaFarga, also to a phenomenal new name, SDI LaFarga Copperworks, as we call them. And it's been a transformation. Today, we're going to talk about that transformation because you remember, our goal is we want to inspire 1 million people with our message that you have to win the hearts and minds of your employees, and then you can win the market share. And that's what Kurt's done. So we're going to learn all about it today. Kurt, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
Kurt, tell us a little bit about your background, what got you here. You're an engineer type of guy, electrical engineer.
Yeah, recovering engineer.
Yeah, you're a recovering engineer. My father was an electrical engineer. I learned to grow up realizing the smartest person in the room was always my dad. He knew more about anything. Electrical engineers are pretty sharp guys. Tell us your background.
Went to engineering school and ended up coming out of there in wire and cable and copper wire here in Fort Wayne, actually, for Essex Wire, and spent several years with them. And actually, within Essex at the time, made copper rod, which is the product that Copperworks makes now. And so kind of grew up through them and then shifted to another copper rod manufacturer for a little bit, and then other wire and cable companies. So, like you said, and I'm feeling older as you keep talking, but it's my opportunities have always been in copper wire and cable, or rod, supplying copper wire and cable.
Now here's something that you're talking about this, and why copper rod? I mean, why? I'm serious because, I mean, come on. I'm sure people go, okay, come on. You're just talking about rod. What's the big deal
pretty
here?
Boring, right? It's pretty boring. But when you look at all the copper that's used in the world, the predominant use, 75% of the use of copper is in wire and cable. And all of that wire and cable needs to be copper wire rod before it becomes wire. So, the microphones that we're using, the headphones that we're using are connected with copper wires, the cameras, everything's connected with copper wires. And all that had to be copper rod before it was a copper wire. So totally not sexy advertised kind of thing. And I would say the same thing for wire also. I mean, not many people as they grow up pine away to be a wire and cable engineer or manufacturer or whatever. People think automotive or something fun, but copper wire is everywhere. And as we talk about electrification and energy transition, copper,
you wouldn't have it without.
You won't have it without. And so this is a big thing.
And I think it's great because a lot of times our company will work with a business and they go, yeah, nobody cares about what we do. It's not sexy. It's not cool. The people who are the great leaders, they love it. They love what they do and they see the importance, and you can feel the passion from them because it's not like, hey, we're just producing something and who cares? It's like, no, wait a minute. This is important. This is important stuff. One thing that's interesting is it's very easy to be in an industry considered to be a commodity and play that game. Just go right down, play the part, say that's what we do. We're going to price it a certain way. We're going to send it out the door and there you go. But you decided you didn't want to play that game. You decided, wait a minute, I want us to have an identity. I want us to stand out and differentiate. That's not easy to do. It's not cheap to do. It takes time, and you have a potential of falling short. What was the inspiration behind that?
Well, a big piece of our differentiation prior to rebranding was that we're the only ones in North America who are recycling and make this product out of 100% recycled material. And so that was a big differentiator prior, but we were not capitalizing on that. What that meant is we were going to market based on, well, we have a lower price, and so that was our differentiator prior to your involvement in us doing this. And part of the thing we did, we were adding a second furnace that would make product similar to the way everybody else does. And so we knew at the beginning of that we didn't want that product to eclipse the refined product, the recycled product. And so we knew we were not smart enough by ourselves to figure out, okay, we need two different stories here for these two different products, or one will kill the other one. And that's when we went and said, okay, but we also need a bigger story of what's the company? Because this very much has been viewed, copper rod has been viewed as a commodity. It's a material. The copper is the commodity, but then the rod has been typically viewed as a commodity as well. And it was all the same, and it all runs the same, it all works the same. It's just a different shape. And so, for us, we knew we needed to have those product differentiations so that we could explain it better to customers, and fold in with, okay, why are we different? And we have two great parent companies in Steel Dynamics and LaFarga, and they're great brands. They're great stories in their markets, which is steel in North America for Steel Dynamics, and copper rod and wire in Europe for LaFarga. But neither of these were great brands or a well-known anything that helped us out in our markets here. And that's where, and a part of the process of that we went through with you of the brand survey and talking to customers, that came back loud and clear of, we don't know what to call these guys, and so the transition started there.
And what's interesting was when we were talking with some customers, it was fascinating because one of your strengths was viewed, though, at the time as a weakness. Oh, they're the cheaper copper rod guys. And you go, well, wait a minute. If we just step back for a minute, why is it cheaper? Well, for one thing it was recycled. Okay, but shouldn't that be positive in this environment? Shouldn't that be sustainable? Isn't that something that's a positive? And it was something that was missed. What was it like internally for you to tackle that challenge?
As I tried to talk around and get feedback from different parts of the greater organization, and talking to other engineers or leaders who had been engineers. I mean, there's this engineer mindset of, well, once the customer knows what you sell, it doesn't matter what your name or your brand is. It doesn't matter. We could be XYZ and it doesn't matter. And I think that's, we've proven that again, that's not correct. There's a piece over time, that your reputation becomes your brand, but to try to set the tone with that brand is a big thing. And so for us, it still became, we've got to do something different. And we've got a great group of people, a great team, a great culture, and that really is what we kind of wanted to showcase a little bit more, because that's a big differentiator for us as well in our market, that our people are driven, and right now, I mean, as we sit here in mid-24, we're the highest priced in our market now, but the highest delivery and very good quality. And so the differentiator now for us is super delivery, not best price. And overall, this is where we want to be.
Yeah, you got a premium for determining what your differentiator was.
For sure.
One thing also, please share with everybody, because this is unique. So you're obviously sharing a great story, a smart business move, but there was more to it because you wanted your employees to rally around this. Share a little bit about that, because you could have stopped right where you were at and said, hey, we're doing really good. We're going to make more money. All right, everybody, keep working, let's keep going. You wanted to make sure you could rally the employees around this. Can you share the inspiration behind that and what you did?
Well, I think as we went through the process, a big definition of who's the audience, who are we thinking about, and identifying certainly audiences and who we think about are our customers. We think about suppliers, we think about shareholders in the community, but a massive piece is the employees, and they're, I can't keep saying it enough, they're a massive differentiator for us, and the compensation systems that we have that drive performance, it's a big part of it, and pride in what we do is a big part of it, and we have almost all of our employees are wearing logo shirts every day. Aside from their uniforms, they have these logo shirts, and we stock logo shirts in all different shapes and sizes and colors, and they buy them, right? And okay, we're not making money on this with the employees, but we're not just handing them out all the time either. And so this is a big thing of the pride in what we do, and it ties up.
It does. And we've kind of jumped over this, but originally the company's name was SDI LaFarga LLC.
Right.
You wanted your own identity.
Right. Again, we're back to two great brands in their markets, and the big thing, and still we still talk through this from time to time, where the Steel Dynamics people call us LaFarga and the LaFarga people call us SDI, and a piece of it, we want to be known, and we want to be known that we're affiliated with those companies, but we are a little bit different than both of those, and we're the child of two great parents, and that doesn't mean we don't love our parents, right? But there's a time when we need to be known for who we are and what we are, and I think that's been a great thing for us inside and outside.
Yeah. And your audience, your customers, do they see you as Copperworks? Then do they recognize that?
There's still a transition, and still legally we are SDI LaFarga LLC. Legally, we just use this Copperworks brand as our main brand, and we use then the product brands that go with that for those different products. And so there are times, and there are times when, especially when it's the customer, that I'll try to correct them, you know what I mean, and go, no, we're really not that, we're this, and there's other times where, okay, well, they are the customer, you know what I mean? So it's a balance, and it's been good.
Yeah.
It's been real good.
The easy thing is to, kind of avoid the internal team and rally the team behind that, but you didn't take the easy road. You did something special, and, it sounds like it's made the difference.
The team is what drives performance. And so that's who we need to rally, and we take care of the team, and the team runs the machine and produces the product, and that takes care of our customers. So this is a big thing.
Well, you did a few things that were crazy at first. Okay, so number one, tell us about your building and what you did with the outside of that building once you came to the conclusion you were now known as Copperworks.
Well, we have this building that is tan in color, generally speaking, and that's been that throughout the Steel Dynamics organization. That's been a thoughtful thing, that we want our factories, which maybe have a bad reputation for being these dirty things, to look clean. And so the idea of, okay, we don't want a black building that hides stuff. We want something that's bright, and so, but the idea to go put the brand in massive letters on the side of the building really took hold, and I mean, it was a LaBeouf idea, right? This was not a Kurt idea, but seeing some of the renderings and seeing, okay, this can be super powerful, and it's super powerful for the employees, and some of the other folks that I said, okay, we're going to go do this. They said, well, this costs a lot of money, and I said, okay, but it's going to totally set the tone. And as you drive up to our building, as you're driving down the highway and you clear the tree line and you see the building, and you get that first impression, and that's what sets the tone, and you can't redo the first impression, and that totally makes a difference for new folks that are coming. We had a gentleman that visited us a couple weeks ago who hadn't been there in like 10 years, and kept saying, wow, this is a wow difference. But the big difference really was back to the employees is that this is a significant. I mean, pops. It pops, and this is where copper works. And it's in massive letters on the side of the building, and that's where they work.
Yeah, you could literally see that. I don't know for how many miles away, but you could see that, and it's amazing. All you're missing is a choir out there going, "Ah."
Yeah.
I mean, really, you drive up, and it's a massive billboard for the company on the building itself, and it went from a kind of a sterile looking old school manufacturing building
Right.
to this inspirational message, which is pretty amazing. It is profound.
It gives the message of proud. We're proud of our brand, but because we're proud of who we are.
All right, a couple things you did that we want to call out that are interesting too. That again, extra things. Your website has every single employee's photo and title. Now, we're not talking about a 5-person company. You have well over 100 people.
Yeah.
What's the inspiration behind that? And what have you seen with that?
At the beginning, there was a discussion of we revamped the website, and we need to get we need to get some of the leaders' faces and names on there. And a big piece, still back to the culture, is that okay, we wear the same uniforms, we wear the same hard hats, we have the same things as everybody else. As the leaders, we do as everybody else in the company, and so we should be highlighting them also. And so I didn't want to have here's just a section of the top X number of people, the managers or whatever. Let's put everybody on there and make everybody feel special. Really, it's the newer employees who are like, okay, when do I get my name on it? When do I get on the website? You know what I mean? And so that's been pretty cool.
Yeah, and it was interesting because you were in there alphabetically. You were not there first. Your leaders aren't in a special spot.
Right.
You're one of the guys in there, so you just peeling through there. Oh, there's this guy named Kurt, and then there's Jason, and then there's somebody else, and it's
there's
just
12 Zachs. Yeah,
they're like the Zach with a CH and the Zach with a CK, and you got all that. Yeah, so there's that, and the other thing, can you share how you launched this virtually during COVID? So keep in mind, you wanted to rally the company around your new name, you had the new logo, the branding. It's exciting. Oh, we have a worldwide pandemic going on, and we can't gather people into one room. So what did you do?
We had Zoom. So we added this other furnace, which was a major change in the output, major change in the operation during the pandemic as well. And again, back to great execution on part of our team, the engineers and folks who put it in and started, but the team who started it up still did that in the middle of all this other stuff. But we need the branding to come alongside at the same time. And so, we end up with this Zoom launch where we sent everybody a box of stuff that ideally we'd wanted them to open together. Whether they did or not, we'll see. But and inside, here's the T-shirt. Here's a bottle of beer, right? That we had special made batch of from the local folks, and some stickers and magnets and the iron-on tattoo kind of thing, right? And so where we could roll out and say, okay, this is what it means to us. This is the way we need to think. This is the way we need to talk. And so we don't want to call these products by these names anymore. These generic industry names that have been used for years, but we want to start to refer to them as our new brands of Infinity and Elemental, and start referring to the company as Copperworks and not SDI LaFarga LLC. So to really explain that to all the people so that they understand before we start rolling it out to other companies and our customers, really.
Yeah, and it was a very inspiring moment because you did it on Zoom. It was worldwide though, because you had people in Spain.
Yep, the shareholders in Spain were on,
right, as well as people here in some different locations in the United States. Every single employee got to log in. They sat there, they opened up their beer, they took a few swigs and enjoyed watching it in the safety of their own home.
Yep.
But it was also an expense because you had to send out 100 or so packages to people.
Sure.
It's not something that was cheap, but it was something that made a difference, and you felt it was worthwhile.
Well, it's back to the whole thing about price, right? I mean, sometimes things cost but they provide value, right? So, and that's, I think that's the overall message for the branding, right? But that's our message to our employees also, is that, okay, there's value here, and we're gonna spend money to get that value for you and from you, with you.
Yep.
That's great. We're going to take a break now, and we'll be right back with Kurt Breischaft.
You're listening to the Difference Talks podcast. Difference Talks is brought to you by LaBeouf Marketing Communications and Training. LaBeouf focuses on one word: differentiation.
In fact, we wrote the book on it, called The Power of Differentiation. Our goal is to inspire 1 million people with this message, helping brands win hearts, minds, and market share.
Discover more at LaBeouf.com.
Thank you for coming back to Difference Talks. We're with Kurt Breischaft, and we're discussing what he did to help transform SDI LaFarga into an inspiring brand known as Copperworks. He defeated the commodity monster and inspired his team. So we're going to now talk about a few other topics, and Marcus is going to lead the show here.
Sounds good. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to talk kind of greatest hits. Kurt, what are those times in your career, could be more recent, where you've really had to rally your team, make history, do something special? You've already mentioned a few. Are there others of those that really come to mind? And again, they could be small things, big things.
For me, our biggest things have been at Copperworks, and certainly the branding and the new furnace where we added that was a massive change for our business, a massive improvement, and but we needed everybody's buy-in. And we had a guy retire, first guy retire off the floor about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and we were talking about, okay, you've been here for 10 years, which is, the place is like 12 years, 13 years old. He'd been there for 12, right? And so we're talking about the folks that weren't with us anymore, and he says they just didn't have any faith. They didn't have any faith in the hard times. And
Wow.
And now they're not here when we're having really good times. So that was pretty cool.
Where I was going before, that faith message, again, Barry was talking about commodity. You're not going to get a lot of commodity companies that are, embracing the commodity model, or, look at their products as commodities that their people would say, we have faith, we have passion for this company and the product we produce. Most are going to go clocking in, clocking out, they're checking in, checking out for the most part. But I think that's something pretty special. There's a passion and a faith to that. And it's pretty cool. Yeah.
There's a super culture, and Steel Dynamics is a big pioneer in the operating culture. And that's one of the things that we for sure have gotten from them. This is our process of refining and recycling is in parallel. It's the same thing that the steel mills do, but all the technical details are different because it's a different metal. But this culture is a massive thing, and we really have seen the power of that over the years.
Another question for you, Kurt. Best day. Love asking this question of our guests. So after a thrilling day where you feel inspired by your team, right, and you've made history, let's say during that day, and you come home, you kick your feet up, you might have a cold beverage by your side, right? But you feel inspired and engaged. What's happened during that day? What does that best day look like for you?
A best day is when everything's ticking, right? And the team is executing. And so, and without intervention, without okay, my job should be to do nothing, right? This is the idea, right? But and when we talk about generically a best day, that's it. When I think about an example of one of this, when we put this second furnace in, all the experts told us you're going to need, when you switch from one material to the other, you're going to need to stop. You're going to need to clean everything out. You're going to replace these things, and you're going to have to do this every day. And we're 3 or 4 weeks in, and Jerry Evans, who's our production manager and operations manager, and is really awesome. He and I were offsite at a meeting somewhere else, and the crew supervisor texts us and says, "We're not going to do that today. We're just going to switch on the run, which can't be done." And I said, "Oh, okay, go ahead." And they did it, and that was the end of that. And that's what we do every day since. Twice a day we switch on the run, which is what everybody beforehand told us. This is not technically possible. You can't do this. It's not gonna work. And so, okay, but we're doing it every day now, and it's not because Kurt said or Jerry said. It's because the crew is wanting to do more. The crew is wanting to push, and so that's awesome. I mean, to me, that's a great day.
Hmm.
And I didn't do anything. You know what I mean? Maybe we set the thing up, right?
Yeah.
We set the equipment up. We set the culture up. We get the right people in the right spots, and they go execute, and everybody wins. And that's a big piece, is that the crew wins, the team wins, the company wins, the customers win. It's perfect.
You've inspired them to break the rules a little bit and find a new way to get the job done. And you didn't have to be there holding their hand to do it. So.
It's challenge. Let's challenge everything, right? Challenge all the assumptions and get back to why can't it be done? And what's the worst that's going to happen if it doesn't work? So it's good.
Again, what you did is you've inspired them you talked about a super culture. So the culture isn't do what the boss says. It has nothing to do with it. It has to do with what do we need to do to succeed in the business. So if you look 3 years in the future, and let's say you're very happy with what's going on there, what's happened? What's the vision you see?
We need continued growth. We're working on continued growth, and a big piece of that is how do we keep stretching more from the equipment, the things that we have. We've got a really robust system of identifying, okay, these are our issues. This is what kept us from the next step, and the team is organized and incentivized to, okay, let's go solve that problem. And so I think we keep bringing that out, and the more we produce, the better our cost profile is, which makes our profitability profile better. Or if things go bad, in a downturn, we have a better cost model to survive that too. So it works both ways.
Well, I want to thank Kurt Breischaft today. Here are examples of the passion that he's instilled at his company. It's not a commodity, because no commodity has its own logo and its own name. And by the way, its own craft beer. Here's Copperworks craft beer, water bottle, cap. There's passion there. And Kurt has inspired that. He inspired it with our company. He inspired it then with all of his people. So today I want to thank you, Kurt. You are an inspiration. You're a person who has just decided to not take no for an answer and make things happen. You have. Mm-hmm. And you have really stared down the commodity monster in your business. And as you said, you're able to charge a premium. You have employees who are proud. You have a building that's a billboard that can be seen miles away. So congratulations. Thank you for being on. Is there anything you want to add to share with anybody on what you did and how it was valuable for you?
I think it was extremely valuable. And I think your process pulled it out of us. There was a big thing. And I think you talk in the book a little bit about this, that okay, it needs to come from the company. It needs to come from us. But that process really pulled it out of us and organized our thoughts of this is what we need to do. And thank you. I mean, that was very awesome for us.
Well, it's a point of pride for us to be associated with you. And what you said is great. We don't come in and create what the brand is. We told you right away, we said, Kurt, we don't know exactly what your brand is. We don't know what your differentiators are. We'll learn. Mm-hmm. But what was beautiful was, and this is what I think turned out so great with you, we determined that you're already doing some amazing things. You are a sustainable company. You just don't talk about it. Right? I mean, It's not like we said, wait a minute now, you got to fix up all these things. You got to start doing things. No, we didn't tell you to change one thing. You're engineers, brilliant engineers. All right. We said, hold on. They are a differentiator for your business. You're sending engineers in to help your customers run their equipment.
Yes.
Okay, so hold on a minute. These guys are differentiators. So what we did there was merely find where the light was and then take the cover off it and say, let's celebrate it. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Marcus. Thank you, Kurt, for being with us today. We hope you're inspired. Our goal is to inspire 1 million people with the message. And what Kurt did today is he won the hearts and minds of his people, and in turn, the market share from his customers. So until next time, Difference Talks, and remember, leaders differentiate.
Thank you for listening to Difference Talks, produced by the amazing team at LaBeouf. All original music on this podcast was created by LaBeouf.
Buy our book, The Power of Differentiation, on Amazon. Have a question for the Difference Talks team? Email us at differencetalks@labeouf.com.